All right. Well, we are going to get started, my friends. Welcome to Cal Poly Entrepreneurs meeting number 2 of spring quarter. You're in the right place at the right time, Tuesday at 6 o'clock p.m. PST. Don't forget the PST if you're in other places around the United States. We have a great meeting. Hopefully our speaker shows up at some time. He'll be here. Don't worry about it. Be sure you sign into the CPE portal, which you can see down here. Can everybody see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Okay, cool. All right. And, engage with me. You can ask questions. Feel free to interrupt me as long as it's not crazy. But let's have some fun because life is tough right now, right? We haven't seen a lot of people. And this can be our semi-substitution for social interaction. So, without further ado, tonight we welcome Jake Smith from Leverage Attention. He's a digital marketer, knows a lot about Facebook ads, social media ads. I met Jake when he did a presentation at Bolt About Coworking. He was talking about really like the nitty gritty of how you can do ads on Instagram. And what's crazy about Instagram is how the precision and the detail that goes into targeting those ads like means the entire effectiveness of those ads. So it's all in the details, which I love that. So we're at Cal Poly Entrepreneurs meeting number 2, and we're going to kick it off with some trivia. So how should we do this? Maybe I should chat, huh? How do I do
here?
No. Oh, crap. You guys can see the answers. No. Did that ruin it?
I didn't see any answers.
I didn't see anything.
Okay. All right. We're going to, since I can't open the chat, or at least I'm not really sure. Okay, now I got it. Sweet. Pretend like you never saw anything. Yes, the economy is in a bit of a lull, but this company is still growing. It plans to hire 75,000 warehouse workers this month. Anybody?
Amazon?
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 Yep, Amazon. Bingo.
Oh, shit.
Ding, ding. Nice. I'm proud of you. Who got it? Maybe if you guys type it in the chat, it'll be better so I can see. We can see who's fastest. Yeah? Let's do that. Okay, next one. This 136-year-old jigsaw puzzle company has seen an increase of 286% in sales since the beginning of April. Max, I'm no Googling.
No, I'm typing the paper right now.
Multitasking.
Yeah,
Anybody?
I do not know the answer to this one.
Puzzle? Does anybody do puzzles? No? Okay, all right. So that was a bad question. It is Ravensburger. Can you imagine that? 286% growth in sales while everybody else is like, pew! It's a good day to make puzzles, I'll tell you that much. Okay. Jeff Bezos doesn't start his important meetings until 10 a.m. Most of his morning is spent blank. Reading the newspaper and eating breakfast with the kids. I'm looking for a verb. Nobody?
Chilling.
Being lazy. Relaxing. Those are all good, but in an interview with CNBC, Jeff Bezos says he spends the morning puttering. He putters around, he reads the newspaper. So yeah, I hope you thought that was fun. And maybe next time, tomorrow you'll use the word puttering in a sentence. So, oh, Maxim, I got your attention off that paper. Good to see. All right. Glad to see some of you got those. The first one. I need to make those easier, huh? All right. Jumping into the game hosted by Caitlin. Caitlin, kick it off for us.
All righty. We're going to play a game called Gimme Gimme, and the way this works is I'm going to say, gimme, gimme, and it's your job to go find one of those for me. So I need everyone's cameras on so I can see everyone. Okay, waiting on a few people on cameras, maybe. Okay, here's a sample one. Okay, give me the number of classes you're taking this quarter. So, for example, I do. Yep.
For the lab.
Oh.
4. Good. Let's see. Can I
I
see
can't
everyone
see my
on
screens.
cameras?
4,
Yep.
5.
0 for
Oh,
Jim.
Jim's
Nice.
like 0.
All right. Okay. That was warm up. So that one's super easy, but this one will be a little bit trickier. Okay. Give me something blue. You've got about 30 seconds to a minute. Okay.
We all have blue water bottles.
A water bottle.
Blue.
Yeah, you should have a blue water bottle. That's obvious.
Perfect. Nice. Good work. Okay. Now we've got our last one, and this one is for a prize. We are giving away another free pizza. So this will be a competition. Is everyone ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Give me an object with the most holes. Whichever person has the object with the most amount of holes in it will get that free pizza.
All right, for
Okay.
sure.
I gotta turn off my background.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one, Armand.
So I have this thingy. It holds my pencils, and it has a ton of holes in it.
Oh, that's a lot of holes.
Interesting. Wow, everyone,
I have the
this is pretty
tangerine.
good.
And I has a lot of holes.
I got this thing.
Oh, Jim, that's smart. Cause
Hey, that's what I did, Sarah.
Look at all those holes.
Okay, this is gonna be a lot harder than I thought. Here's
Yeah,
my
there's no way
item.
I'm counting all these holes.
I think I might have beat all of you guys. I don't know.
I don't
Oh,
know,
that-
Kaylin.
Fair.
I don't know,
I don't know.
man.
Kaylin knew what the question was. He had it ready.
That's not fair.
Hold up. Wait a second.
Okay, just off of first glance, I'm going to say maybe Marissa or Maxim, perhaps.
Yeah, Sarah or Matt
Yeah.
has got
What
it.
did Maxim have?
I have this
Let's see.
pencil holder that has like so many holes in it.
Yeah, that's good.
Lots
I
of
like
things.
Marissa's.
I mean, this
Maxim.
basket has a lot. I'm not gonna lie, this
I
basket,
don't know.
this
This
basket.
fireplace
a lot.
thing's got a lot of holes.
I'm saying.
All
Did you
right,
win last week,
everybody-
Maxim?
No, I did not.
Okay. I would say Maxim or Marissa. I'm gonna give it up to Alice to decide.
Okay, everybody put your vote in chat
Oh,
for who should get the pizza. Maxim
Oh,
or
yeah.
That's
Marissa?
a
I'll
good
hold it up. I'll
one.
keep it up. Keep it up.
Getting a lot of holes.
There's holes on the bottom too.
All right, and the voting is closing.
Go
Okay,
on.
we're gonna jump into. We're gonna kick off the meeting again.
Awesome.
Well,
Stay tuned next
actually,
week for some more.
Yeah, thank you, Kaylin, for that fun intro game. I really like that. Got people talking. Got people to turn on their cameras, which I really like. All right, so I'm gonna share my screen again, and we have an announcement about the Intrepid podcast from Kaylin.
Yeah, I'll make it really quick this time. Check out the podcast. We got 10 episodes, 1 episode on a winter tour. It'll be awesome. Check it out. Thanks.
And where can you find it?
We'll send it in the chat to the anchor, which will have every platform that it's available on.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you,
And
Maxim.
Who do we have on there so far?
We've got Matt Maxwell from Boat About. We've got Brett Foreman from Kick It Points. We've got David Kozak from Polycast. Lena Silverman, who is the captain of the Cal Poly women's rugby team. That's a really interesting one. And a bunch more of other people. So yeah, check it out if you guys have some free time.
Awesome. Sweet. I'm stoked about the Intrepid podcast. I'm definitely going to give a listen to the new episodes this weekend. And then with that, that leads us into our fireside chat with Jake Smith, who is a digital marketing strategist at Leverage Attention. Jake, I saw that you joined about a few minutes ago. Thanks for taking the time to talk with us. And
All that free
have a
time, all that free pandemic time.
yeah, exactly. Do you have a lot of free time right now?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you guys want to jump into this, but obviously people are, having financial situations like small business, medium-sized business, and we lost about 80% of our clientele within the first 2 weeks of this going through. One of them went bankrupt, other ones scaled down, and some of them stayed, and then obviously some of them took advantage of the pandemic of everybody being home as far as like video views and webinars, but that's stuff we can get into, but definitely a lot of free time. But when you own a business like this, you get to work and you start creating products and services that are more on the low end to help the people that are struggling, not only to help them to survive, but your business to survive as well.
Yeah, it's a challenging time, but I like what you said about how some people are taking advantage of. It is like, and every crisis is an opportunity, and those people who are, putting out new content, because a lot of people are at home and have the time to look at things online.
Yeah, so I don't know if we have any, digital marketers on here or social media advocates, but on the back end, if you were to look at the numbers, CRMs, which is cost per millions, have been the lowest they've been in like 15 years, which it's just impressions, getting people, and it's really simple. It's, if you understand it, it's just people are home and they don't have anything to do, and now they have more time to be on their phones. So the people that are doing like educational webinars, they upped their budgets, they have hires, but anyone as far as restaurants, chiropractors, anything that has to do with people have been really hit hard. Few of them have stopped because they shut down their business completely. But as far as offering like pickup and delivery option, instead of going from conversion campaigns, and by all means, guys, if I rant, I do this for a living, slow me down. Instead of doing conversion campaigns, now they're doing awareness campaigns, because they're pretty much just trying to tell people that they are still open, that they're here supporting the community, and vice versa. They want support back. Let's see, 1 second. I see questions popping up in chat. I'll read your guys's, if you guys want to write in the chat, I'll read it as much as I can. So our CPM, CPVs, and CPCs costs going up? Not currently, they are still down. And for people that don't know what those are, that's cost per conversion, cost per million. CPV could mean a few things, so I don't know which one he's referring to. But no, as of right now, they are stable and they are below average.
Okay. I think it might be good to take a step back for, a minute or two. And if you could talk about like your background, how you got started in digital marketing. And just go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually applied to Cal Poly and got accepted back in 2008. So I'm coming across 30. I couldn't afford it, so I did what everybody does that can't afford college. I went to Cuesta, and then I started becoming a iron worker. I studied architectural engineering, and then I got into Six Sigma when I started working out of Diablo Canyon. But I actually bought my first course through Ty Lopez, which I know that most people think that he's a scam artist, but the truth is, if you look at the numbers, most people actually just don't finish his course. About 98% of people that purchase courses don't finish it. So I started back in 2017. I got my first client, and then I got my second client, my third client, and I've been growing ever since. And as I started making more money, I started investing more in Ty. I bought more courses. I started going to his house, and then I actually paid him for personal mentoring. And then I started buying other courses like Grant Cardone's, Cole Hatter's, pretty much just becoming a tacticianer, building a lot of systems and processes that were universal to use for all of my clients. And now we're pretty much automated. It's me and 2 other people, just virtual assistants. And that's how I got started. I got started with a $1,000 course from Ty Lopez. Okay, sorry, you were muted.
Oh, yeah. What did you take away from those courses? What were the things that stood out that made you feel like, oh, this is something I got to keep going with, like fueling you?
It's actually, it's kind of funny how well it worked out, because I went from studying architecture, and I was advanced in high school, and then I did the same thing in college, where I could actually just go in and take my tests. The teacher didn't require me to go in during the day because he knew I knew what I was doing. So that's building stuff. And then I got into engineering, which is, making stuff work. And then when I started working out at Diablo, they practice a thing called Six Sigma, which I loved. It's a very slow process, but it's where you don't make any mistakes. It's the same principle that they use for airlines. It's why there's not that many crashes, right? The pilot and the co-pilot are checking each other. I do the same thing with digital marketing. And then I got obsessed with behavioral psychology, mainly to understand myself. But ironically, you start understanding other people as well. So when I got into marketing, it all worked. When I did the course, man, it took me 30 years to find what I wanted to do, but it was perfect because the architecture helps me build these things. The engineering helps me make them fluent. The Six Sigma makes it so that there are no problems. And so you asked me like, what made me stick with it? It truly just felt right. I enjoy the process. I got to use all my skills and I was good at it.
Yeah, that's really good. And also related to that, I saw Jim asked in the chat, which course was the best investment for you?
Okay, so I give all credit first to Ty Lopez, and the reason I do that is because he's the one that opened my eyes to a course, right? So when you start learning digital marketing, you start learning about different personality types. I'm a big practical person, so he had $1,000, and just so I want you guys to paint a picture, and I want to be real with you because you are in situations that I'll be in or that I was in eventually. Is I was financially well off. I had 6 figures in my bank account. I had my house, but I was still in a poor mindset of I didn't want to spend money. So his was a 30-day money back guarantee. And for some reason, that was enough for me to purchase it. And so that's what broke the mold. And so that course for me really led to everything. But to obviously be more specific of, which one was the best, Joe Soto has a course, funnel agency and Facebook ads. He is, if you buy Ty Lopez's course, let me say it like this. You're not really going to learn from Ty. You're going to learn from Joe Soto. And Joe Soto is a practical Six Sigma, teach you everything that you need to know kind of guy. So that would be the best course I've ever invested in.
Nice. Joe Soto. I'll definitely have to check those out.
Yeah, he's got some free stuff on YouTube, by the way. I definitely promote his stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I remember watching a video of Ty Lopez, and he was saying like, reading books, like usually there's like 2 to 3 things that are like key that you want to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking like, yeah, that might be right, but it also takes you time. Like by reading a book, you're building like kind of like a process, like you're thinking through something on your own.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like you can't, like that process, you can't just skip through or try to, fast forward through it just to get to those little gold nuggets, because then you'll miss out on the greater whole.
There is that, and if you learn, like Ty's famous saying, like I read a book a day. It's true, but just like marketing, it doesn't mean that it's the absolute truth. He actually has a process of how he reads a book. He reads the front, he reads the back to build authority to his own subconscious of why he should be reading the book. He reads the index, the preface to understand. He views the content, and then he'll read the first chapter, the last chapter, and then what he does is he goes into the table of content and chooses what subject there is that's most going to affect his life at that current moment, and he only reads that chapter, and then he puts it down. He views his books as friends. It's like people that you revisit and come back to.
I like that idea. That I think that's a great way that you put it, especially, when there's a world of information out there that there's selective. Yeah, you have to be selective about what you're gonna, ingest, and you have to choose what's gonna be.
I have a library behind like this wall, like a mini one, and then I have the 10 books that I'm just always going back and touching up on.
So if I just want to say that if anyone has any questions, put into the chat, and
so has
then
anyone
I
ever
will.
told you that you look like Casey Neistat? Yes, I get that all the time, and I especially get it when I'm on my electrical
Of course.
skateboard flying my drone. The pandemic for marketing purposes that you've seen so far. I'm a very deep person. I can actually share my screen, by the way, and there are things that I can show you guys as far as processes. But what is the most ingenious thing? It's really just resonating with the audience. So, for instance, most of my services are 2,000 plus, right? Nothing below. And the reason is because I have systems and processes that I've established. I've calculated everything as far as time goes and how much effort goes into it. And this is the bare minimum. But I've never really had anything for the businesses that are currently struggling, which is now in kind of the $100 to $500 mark. So you could stay in your head and say, I am this valuable, I've created this, but the times are changing, so you have to change with the time, and your customers are changing, so you have to change with your customers. So now what we did, and I actually reached out to Joe Soto on this, was if you have a whole product and then we just cut it into 4 pieces, they might not be able to afford the whole pie, but what they can afford is Facebook marketing. Or if they don't want Facebook, and obviously we're going to like designing their audience, they can afford Instagram. Like they might not be able to afford the entire sales funnel, but you can at least do the landing page and the confirmation page. They might not be able to hire you for a full strategy session, but they might be able to do, a 30-minute coaching session. So most ingenious would definitely be adapting and changing to the current environment and understanding it. Like awareness is huge. People don't have money right now. It's an easy trickle down, right? Like businesses are closing, so employees don't get to work, which means people don't have money, which means people don't spend money.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Let's see. So how do you market successfully yourself in a world where everyone is trying to market themselves online? So this, I'm going to give you guys a unpopular answer because I am not a vanity metric person. The first person that I ever marketed for, just so you guys know, was actually myself. I had a fan page, and before I ever sell anything to anyone, I want to make sure that it's something that I would buy myself. So what I originally did was I was doing engagement, right? So I was creating valuable content for entrepreneurs. So I was pretty much just creating content for myself. I would post it and then I'd run engagement ads for it and send it to a detailed targeted audience, which was, entrepreneurs, people interested in Tai Lopez, Grant Cardone, Cole Hat, whatever, right? I designed an audience, and then I got a really low cost per click or CPE, cost per engagement. And we're talking like, eventually it was 5 cents per, 1 cent per, and then we actually started getting into fractions of cents where I hit the 0.0004. So you're paying thousandths of a cent for an engagement, and then I sold that to a winery, and then I went up. So how do you market yourself successfully? What's funny is my first instinctive answer is to market yourself. Like most people ask this question, but they actually don't get out there and start marketing themselves. Don't care about getting 1 million followers. Like know what you want to talk about. I talk about practical marketing. So I don't speak to everyone that does marketing. If you go on my Instagram page, it's rather boring, but the people that do follow me are rather engaged. So I think I touched on it, but mine would definitely just be get out there, market, create consistent content, and truly be yourself, because you can pander to the masses and get a massive following, but when it comes to you asking them a genuine question or an ask in action, they won't do it. And then Allison says, what are some of the most important hard and soft skills to develop if you're going into the marketing field? Yeah, so let me see if I can share my screen real fast. I like visuals, guys. I'm a visual person. Can everybody see this? Can somebody give me confirmation? Cool.
Yeah,
Thank
we
you.
can see that.
Cool. So in the beginning, I needed to know what digital marketing was because I told people I was a digital marketer, and somebody asked me a great question. They said, what does a digital marketer do? And I didn't know the answer in the beginning. So I came and I created a sheet. So what this sheet is that you're looking at is actually what consists in the realm of digital marketing, and then those subsections and those subsections. So when you ask me like, what is a hard and soft skill to learn? My instinctive answer is learn human nature, learn human psychology. Everything that you create is going to be for people, whether it be their personality, their behavior, their demographic, their interests. It's only going to be for them. So if you understand people, you understand your audience, which allows you to create your ad copy, your ad content, your landing page, all of that. But as far as like which one to home in on, I can't answer that for you, but what I would say is choose one, become great at it, and then expand. So we've got search engine optimization, which is on page, off page, and technical. I'm not going to go through all these. Content marketing, social media marketing, pay per click, affiliate marketing, native marketing, marketing automation, email marketing, online PR, inbound marketing, which is pretty much all of these. And now digital marketing is actually kind of expanding, where people are doing website, graphic design, strategy, branding, landing page, and chatbot was recently introduced. So I can't answer your question specifically and honestly, because I would be lying to you. I would choose one that you're really good at. Right now, what's really hot is Facebook and Instagram ads, LinkedIn ads, YouTube ads. Google PPC still exists, but I don't do it as much. I hope that answers your question. I don't want to make something up and lie to you.
That was really helpful. Thank you.
Okay. And let's see. I can't see chat sharing, so let me stop sharing real fast. Okay. So let's see. When in regards to effectiveness of an ad campaign, how do you target ads on Instagram compared to the posts on hyper-focused micro influencer pages? Maxim, if you would expand on that a little for me.
Yeah, I did have a typo. It was supposed to say with regard to, but I was curious about like, so obviously you can target ads really well on Instagram and Facebook, but I've seen the rise of people using micro influencers, like pages that are specifically about cooking or specifically about bike, because they have a hyper focused follower base. And so like posting a picture on one of their profiles, how does that compare to one of those highly targeted campaigns?
So compare is obviously a general term, but I'll give you a really good answer for it. Is you are right. Like imagine, this is how I do it anyways at our agency. If I'm working with a real estate agent and our CPE, so our cost per engagement is 4 cents, I will go over to the page. I will see their engagement. I do not care how many followers they have. I will add up the 10 recent posts that they have, find the median, times that by 0.04. So this is how much I'm willing to pay because it's what I'm getting over here. Obviously, as a business person, I'm going to try to pay below. And what's really actually good and bad is the concept of value. So these people could not know their value, or they could think above their value. But as far as doing either, they are both great. But with the social influencing, it's really nice because you could go in and do the calculations and say, if this person were to post this, it would cost me $200 here. You might offer them $100 and they might be ecstatic. You might offer them a free product that costs you $20. They might be ecstatic. So it comes down to strategy. For me, it always comes to the numbers of cost, and that's how I would do it. And by the way, when you write one micro influencer, I'd write 100 of them because it's pretty much just we do a thing called CTC, which is custom template custom. So we'll create the guts of a template, but we'll say hi to them as an individual, and then we'll paste the template, and then we'll close with them. But you can send 100 in a day.
Okay.
Does that answer?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's see. Kaylin says, would you mind sharing the diagram with the group? What diagram are you referring to?
Yeah, I was just talking about the diagram you showed earlier, kind of outlining the different types of digital marketing and that kind of breakdown.
Absolutely. Yeah, if you guys see something that you want, let me know. I make most of this stuff public.
Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely, I guess, we'll get in contact with you and we'll share it via email or something to everyone who's listening. But I actually did have another question I wanted to ask.
Yeah.
How do you kind of balance like, I guess, marketing versus like content? Because you sometimes, you don't have the content to market, or sometimes it's not worth marketing if you don't have enough content. So I guess, like, where do you kind of see the balance between that, and how do you know when to do what?
So it's really easy, actually. The answer to that is simple. So if you do not have finances, so you don't have an ad budget, you are going to be a content creator. And if you cannot, again, I always work my way from the beginning. So if you have money, you market. And then if you don't have money, you create content. And if you create content, but you can't curate that content, then you just document your life. And then vice versa. So if you are documenting currently with your content, the next step that you want to focus on is becoming a curator of your content. And then once you have your curation of your content and you're posting it consistently and you're getting good engagement and hopefully you're making a revenue, you just reinvest into the business and now you become a marketer, a small end marketer. And then hopefully it keeps growing and you have a positive ROI and you keep scaling up. Does that answer your question? It was rather broad, but I tried my best.
Yeah, no, definitely. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, man. Let's see. Alistar says, what traits do you look for in micro influencers? Are there any back-end analytics that you can get from Instagram? So I don't know if you guys have this, and if you haven't done this, do this because there's no reason for you not to. But if you have an Instagram page, turn it into a business page so at least you get Instagram insights. I'm a data fiend, so it's going to show you who's landing on your pages, what they're doing, and why they're doing it. But what I look for in a micro influencer, this is subjective on the marketer, but I just look for authenticity. So I really just want things to resonate. We don't do that much influencer work. We've done it with one of my other businesses, which is a car event company called National Motor Fest. We definitely look for influencers in that because just cost per engagement has been really low. But yeah, just authenticity. Obviously they're engaging, right? Like we have a checklist. They post, they engage, they like, they have a decent following.
So are you saying to even turn your personal Instagram page into a business page? So you
I wouldn't be telling as much as I would be like demanding. If I could force you guys to do it, I would tell you to turn your personal page into a business page because there's no reason for you not to get those analytics because you don't know where you're going to be in 5 years. And eventually you might become a social influencer. You might want to, sell something, become a personal brand, and you want to be able to go back and look at that data. There's no reason not to.
Yeah, I think it's interesting too because I love analytics stuff and the fact that there are analytics that could be generated, but I'm just not, aware of it. I definitely have to check that out.
Yeah, honestly, you're 2 clicks away from going to settings, business, and accept, from getting like who's going to your, not who exactly, but like what age, what gender, what demographic, just information you're missing out on.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
Of course, man. Is there any other questions? You guys can ask me like real questions because I'm not going to lie to you. I feel like a lot of people fluff up like owning your own business, which don't get me wrong, guys. It is incredible, but it is incredibly hard sometimes too. I'm cool with deep questions. Most people ask questions on the surface.
I have a question. If the COVID-19 crisis lasts for a long time, let's say just for the hypothetical, a few years, do you see your business needing to pivot or make any changes to survive?
So yes, yeah, drastically. And pivots have already been made. We went from, I don't want to give you guys like specific numbers just out of my own like respective privacy, but imagine making $100,000 and then in 2 weeks you're making $20,000, right? So, and say you have a business that needs $30,000 a month to run. That's what it felt like, and we've been there. So it's not. If you get wrapped up in it emotionally, you really start to worry. That's why something I strongly encourage is emotional intelligence and being in control of your emotions, is because I adapted like that, man. I had feelings, so I created questions and I seeked answers, and I went to my mentors and people that knew what they were talking about, and they broke it down for me, and then I started implementing it. I started doing free work for restaurants. I offered them 1 week free of me doing their ads, which typically is $2,000 plus ad budget, but I did it for free. And then after we started getting them results, I still have them on now a micro retainer. It's not a lot, but it's something. So yes, I would pivot dramatically. And if I had to, I'd just go back to work. Yeah, I can hold my head up high. I'd go back to work. I don't want to. Trust me, I really don't want to. I don't like working for other people unless they're smarter or wiser than me or can teach me something. But yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What are some of your business principles that you feel like you can kind of like guide yourself and also rely on to navigate maybe difficult situations?
Yeah, I've always had, so in the end, with any business, I like these 2 R's that I focus on, and it is results and relationship, in that order. And the reason being is because if you're not bringing the people results, it doesn't matter how friendly you are with them, they'll drop you, right? We're in business. They want to make money. They want to give you $1. They want to receive 2 back. But so over delivering, right? And never over promising. Setting expectation is huge. That's actually one that I was going to touch on. But finishing up the double R. Relationship's huge, like it's not hard to be a human. And I think people really, I don't know how to express it. They just make things a lot harder than they are. Like I'm a person, this person's a person. They want me to come in and ask. All they want is their pain lessened, if not eliminated, and they want their pleasure increased, if not created, right? And then so a principle to that is transparency and massive communication. I feel like I'm pretty silent, except when doing conversations like this, but like over delivering and communication so that they know exactly what to expect, what's to come. If anything bad happens, you don't hide it. You just tell them. Again, like you keep emotions out of it, and they feel like they're along the journey and they're getting result updates. So results and relationship, transparency, and a lot of communication. Those have definitely just kept me safe in every situation. In success, they celebrate, and in bad times, they're not celebrating, but they're not mad at you because they're aware of what's happening in their business. 1 second. Let's see. Got a question from Nick. So how do you put yourself apart from other marketing services? You're going to like this answer. This answer has a lot to do with pricing. Remember, I come from an engineering background. So not only, let me give you a little bit more context, guys. So I was born in Santa Maria and I grew up poor, right? Like growing up in hotels and motels and sometimes being in my dad's truck. Don't feel sympathy for me because it made me who I am. But when you ask like, what makes me different? I reflect that upon my business, right? Like, why would you pay me more? It's really only because of me, because what I've done and where I've been and what my qualifications are. So, hold on, I'm slightly losing the track where I was going to do this. So, pricing. So, pricing, when I went and I started studying why people, because just so you guys know, I was offering the same, let's use actual equations. Let's say I was offering X and one of my friends was offering X. He was charging $10,000 a month on something that I was charging $1,500 a month for. So I went up and I asked him and I said, hey, like, how can you charge that? And I'm charging this, and like, they're the same thing. He's like, just because you're not asking for 10,000. It really, unfortunately, there wasn't a conclusive answer, but it truly was that simple. He was working with bigger clients, getting $10,000 a month, and he was making them, I don't know, $15,000, $20,000 a month. I was charging $1,500 for the same service. I was only making them, $1,700 or $2,000. But what sets you apart from other marketing services? Nothing, man. We all offer the same thing, but we all have different processes. We all have different results. We all have different staffs. That's the only thing that sets you apart. So you can be lower in price. You can be higher in results. You can have a smoother process. You can have faster turnover time. But really, when you really break down marketing services, we're all doing the same thing.
Awesome. Thank you.
How do you build a loyal customer base? I mean, loyal customer base. A lot of my clients, a lot of my long-term clients have just become my friends. over delivering, going to their house, like actually driving to them. I work with a lot of local people, Mercedes, Ford, local chiropractors. Like you just drive there, and again, don't overcomplicate it. That's probably the biggest thing I would say is just be human. We update our clients weekly and monthly. If they want daily updates, we charge them more because it's more effort. But like the answer's in the question. To create and build a loyal customer base, you just have to be loyal to your customers. That make sense? And then Andrew asked, what would you say to someone on the fence about whether they want to pursue entrepreneurship, and how did you develop your relationship with entrepreneurship? So let me share my screen one more time with you guys, and you'll like this. There's a great book out there called E-Myth, and that is the letter E, myth. And I almost knew that one of you guys were going to ask this question. So most people don't understand what an entrepreneur is. So by definition, an entrepreneur is just somebody that owns an LLC, an S Corp. If you guys want to become an entrepreneur, go on whatever ca.gov, buy an LLC for as low as $70 up to $700, and congratulations, you by definition are an entrepreneur. But I don't really like those low standards. I like high standards and holding myself higher accountability. So by the book of E-Myth, what an entrepreneur is this. So I'm going to give you the general gist of it, and then I'm going to zoom in for you. So an entrepreneur isn't somebody that works that much. They do still work. They're probably touching their company, let's say 1 to 5 hours a month. And what they do is they are in charge. They are the managers of their managers, and their managers have technicians below them. So this is where I started. Let's call this Facebook. The first thing I learned was Facebook. And then I learned Instagram. And then I learned YouTube. And then I learned Google PPC. I'm spreading myself pretty thin, just so you guys know. I wanted to know everything first, though, before which one I wanted to dive in. And then we did content creation. I became these tactitioners. But after I got really good at Facebook, and I understood it, and I was confident in hiring somebody, I hired a technician, which then made me a manager. Now my next step, and I'm actually currently still in this, is eventually, because now I have somebody doing Instagram, now I have somebody doing Facebook, and now I have somebody creating my content, and I manage them, but I'm still involved in the business. Now eventually my next step is going to be, I need to find somebody to manage my technicians, and then all I have to do is manage my manager. So let me go back to view the question to make sure I answered it. So what would you say to someone on the fence about whether they want to pursue entrepreneurship? You guys are really young. I don't know if you listen to, just so you know, like I'm turning 30 in a few days, and I still consider myself incredibly young. You guys got a lot of time. I would try it, but I'm not going to say that it's for everyone. I see a little hand. Is that you, Alistair? What's going on there?
I was clapping because you're turning 30.
Oh, thanks, man. I thought it was like a question. And then how did you develop your relationship with entrepreneurship? I don't know if you heard, but I didn't, man. Like I did when we grew up poor. I pulled weeds. I mowed lawns. I did the whole lemonade thing. I'm a big time gamer. Behind my $3,000 gaming laptop that I'm on, I have my $10,000 tower. I actually used to trade skins, like Call of Duty skins, and make a decent amount of money. So it was almost like doing kids stock market stuff. So I've always been a mix, man. I've done everything. I've done retail. I've been a busser. I was an iron worker, and as an iron worker, I was a rod buster, which is the lowest of the low. It's putting thousands of pounds on your shoulder. So I don't know if I was a true entrepreneur. I just kind of eased my way into it. Caitlin asked, what was the most challenging part about building your business? It's a great question. So first of all, if I could do it all over again when I was making the most money, I would have invested more into one-on-one mentorship, because I made a lot of mistakes, and the difference between when you're employed and you make a mistake, it's not really your fault. it's your business's fault, right? It goes up the chain. It's your supervisor's fault, and then it's your manager's fault, and they can't really blame you as an individual. They can fire you, but when you make a mistake, and again, I'll leave numbers rather broad. When I developed my own contract for my services, there was a hole in it that I couldn't see. I wasn't a professional, and I couldn't hire somebody to make it for me. It cost me $10,000. And that's a huge hit, and it went to my gut. And I think that was actually the first time that I ever felt depression. Was like, you have no one to turn to and blame other than yourself. But it was a good hit, because like moments like that are going to happen, and you really have two choices. You can give up and just be done with it, or you can suck it up, find the lesson in it, and learn from it. Because, and that's a real number, guys, I lost $10,000. And 2 weeks later, when I started hustling, because there was pain on me and I wanted to resolve it with pleasure, I made $6,000 in a week, because I landed 3 clients in a week. So what was your most challenging part about building your business? I don't know how to answer most. There's a lot of challenges to it, but it is worth it.
Yeah, that definitely helps. I mean, any other challenges you have to share would be interesting to hear as well.
Yeah, let me, I'll try to, it's not a specific question, but so when I started, right, forming a business is a thing of its own. You have to learn the difference between a sole proprietor LLC, a partnership LLC, an S Corp, a C Corp, and then even getting into that, like forming it, do you have a representative agent? So it would have been nice and it would have been really easy for me just to reach out to somebody and gone, hey, have you developed a few LLCs? And they say yes, and then comes in here. So that could almost say, like, build your network and start now if you can. And when you get into the technical skills, so I knew Facebook and Instagram, right? I was confident in it. But if you are a sole proprietor or a solo entrepreneur, you also have to be a salesperson. So knowing you have to have the confidence, and it's really easy to say, I'm going to go talk to 10 people today. But you're going to go talk to 10 people and ask them for $2,000 of their hard-earned money. And you're going to have to convince them that you're worth it. So if you have any self-worth issues, those are definitely things. And it is big. Most people don't talk about it, like self-worth issues, but those are good things to conquer. So, finding my worth was definitely a challenge inside a business. Becoming a salesperson was a thing. But fulfillment was the easiest part. All right, let's see. Where was part? So Alistar says, what has been the best part of your entrepreneurial experience so far? I have worked full time for myself for the past 5 years. So imagine, within reason, waking up every day at what time you want, which I do actually wake up rather early, going to the gym that you want, being able to afford the food, because remember, the harder you work, the more you get. I'm saying that within reason, because it's not always necessarily true, but if I do want to make more money, it's a simple equation. I just have to go get more clients and get them results. So really the best part is being in control of my life. I love that feeling. Nobody tells me where to go, what to do. Even if my clients, I get to reject clients if I don't think they're good for me. And don't get me wrong, I've come across, I don't know if I can curse on here, but it's real. I've come across some assholes, and it's really nice to be able to say, you know what, I just don't think it's a good fit. You shake their hand and then you go find somebody else, because there's 1,000 other people that are willing to work with you. Let's see. Alistar, we have time for one more question. Let's see. And if you I'll wrap up on the last question, but if any of you guys have a question for me, you can go to my Instagram page, which is NoJokeJ, NoJokej, and ask it. We can do a video call. I don't mind. And so what has been, and I don't want to be unfair to the person below, Matthew, I'll respond to you on Instagram. I'm just doing an order of operation. What has been, oh no, never mind. I already answered that one. You talked about you learned the ins and outs of Facebook and Instagram, YouTube. Where did you learn all this from? From Ty? No, I did not learn it from Ty, actually. If you guys want to learn And I've noticed this on almost every platform. If you want to learn that platform, learn from that platform. Now, what I mean by that is Facebook has what's called Facebook Blueprint, and it is 100% free, doesn't cost you anything other than getting the certificates at the end, where you can go through all of their courses, and they explain it way more in depth than any other course that I've ever been in, including Joe Soto. And they'll teach you actual tangible skills where if you guys wanted to, you could go learn it. I think it took me a few weeks to master it. And then you could go up to potential clients. And if you really wanted to be over the top, you could spend, I think it's like $90 and get the certification that most marketers that I'm next to actually don't have, but I do. And then same thing with YouTube and same thing with Google, man, their learning facilities are great.
Well, thanks for all of your insight and for talking with us. It's always great to hear from you. I think I always feel motivated after talking with you because you run after it. And I know right now might be a tough time for business owners, but I'm confident that the ones that persevere are going to come out on top. And like you said, you have to adapt. You have to adapt to change or you die. So I think what I love about how we're doing these online Tuesday meetings is that I hope that we can keep this spirit alive, like that in every crisis, in every problem, there's an opportunity to be solved. So I challenge each of you, wherever you are, if you're at home, think about like, what are the things that are kind of like facing society? What's something that you face each day? What's a problem that you encounter that could be improved by a solution? So yeah, I want to give you a big thank you for joining
I appreciate
us.
you guys for having me here.
Thank you.
And before I log off, I'll leave you with two things, probably things that you already know. One's a statement, and the other's a challenge, which is, Elon Musk says that you get paid in proportion of the problem that you solve. So if you guys aren't making money, or if you guys want to make money, it's pretty much just solving problems for clients. And then the other one, I forget who said it, but he says if you don't come out of this pandemic with a new skill or a new book read or a new course finished, then you didn't take advantage of this free time.
Mm-hmm. I'll clap to that.
Yeah. Well, hey guys, I appreciate you for having me. I'm grateful. Remember, you can write me on Instagram. Alistar, again, thank you, man. I'll see you when this is all over. I'm sure I'll have another event.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I'll be 21 soon.
Yeah, okay. I don't drink, but
okay.
I'll go celebrate with you.
There we go.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Jake. And then real quickly, everyone, I just want to introduce you to Jim Fenwick. Jim is a lecturer, or are you associate professor at Cal Poly? I'm not sure. I'm sorry if I screwed that up.
Entrepreneur in residence.
Okay, entrepreneurship and entrepreneur in residence. But I wanted to introduce you because you've been so helpful to me in like thinking about decisions that I've had to make. And I would like to, if people here have questions or if they, want to contact you, I wanted to put it out there, or if you're okay with that.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then, yeah, so I encourage all of you to stay involved, learn something new, treat this time as sacred for what it is. Like, how often do you get this much free time to yourself to learn something new? Closing off, I know we're a few minutes over. We are going to have Shane Saltzgiver, who's the CEO and founder of VEC. He's going to be talking with us next week, Tuesday at 6 p.m. PST. Look up their company. It sounds pretty cool. It seems like they help the construction of big buildings with like doing modeling of them. So maybe it's like in AutoCAD, you can view the interior of the building. I was trying to figure out maybe somebody else can piece it together. So that ties it off. Any closing announcements from anyone? Nope.
Yeah. I got one. Okay. Check out the CPE Instagram within either today or tomorrow. We're gonna start doing these like little fun challenges and stuff just so that we can keep the energy up and stuff like lighthearted. So yeah, check out the Instagram. I'm gonna be posting regularly, something that you guys can all engage in and have fun. So
Heck yeah. Thanks, Armand. I'm really excited. And keep the CPE group chat alive. If you have something that you're working on, post it in the group social chat. We'd love to hear what you guys are doing, what you're up to. So that concludes meeting number 2 of spring quarter. I hope to see all of you back here next week with Shane. Have a great week and a great weekend.
Thank you.
See you, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye.